Standing in the eastern Ochoco Mountains, Steins Pillar rises 350 feet above the forest, a towering sentinel watching over Mill Creek Valley. Formed more than 40 million years ago, this giant was created from volcanic tuff, hardened ash, and rock from ancient eruptions. Over the course of millions of years, wind, rain, and ice carved away the softer surrounding stone, leaving this massive pillar as a natural monument visible for miles. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the deeper history of this land. Steins Pillar was named after Major Enoch Stein, a U.S. Army officer who led campaigns against the Northern Paiute people during the 1860s, a tragic and painful chapter in Oregon's history. The name itself was later misspelled from Steins to Steins, and honestly, I'm grateful it was. While the name we use today is different, the land itself still carries the memory and sacred connection to the indigenous people. To the Shoshone, this was the altar of Tawa, meaning the sun god. The Ochoco Mountains themselves hold native origins. The word Ochoco is believed to come from a Paiute term, meaning the willows, or place of the willows. I want to recognize the indigenous people with respect. They have a far greater mark on this land historically than any settler ever has. I stand in acknowledgement of their losses during these times. Am inspired by their unmatched resilience and admire many of the cultural traditions still being practiced in their tribes today. As time went on, new families arrived in this valley, each layer of history building upon the one before it. Steins Pillar was used as a trade post between local tribes as well as a point of reference for the indigenous. It would also become a guide and landmark to new settlers, making this valley their new home. Among those settlers were my ancestors, Enoch and Almeda Demaris. Their journey west began in the 1860s, traveling by wagon train across the plains to Walla Walla, Washington first, where their son, John Henry Demaris, was born in 1864. Eventually, they continued south. In 1876, the family arrived in Crook County and staked their future along Mill Creek. Here they built their first home, began ranching, and became part of the earliest wave of homesteaders. John made his presence official by filing for 160 acres under the Homestead Act. He and his wife, Cynthia Jane O'Kelly, raised their growing family right under Steins Pillar. Many would be born in the family homestead. In the 1890s, John became deeply involved in the lumber business, buying into the Compton Mill and forming a partnership with William Henry Birdsong. Together, they supplied lumber for many homes, barns, and fences that supported the region's growing ranching community. The Birdsong and Demaris families became one when eventually two Birdsong children would marry two of the Demaris children. William Henry Birdsong's story began in Texas, where he was born in 1858. In 1876, he married Emma Farthing, and in 1883, they left Texas for California, running a ranch before moving to Prineville in 1888. William soon became active in the sawmilling business, leading to the partnership with John Demaris and also later with Alex Ammons, one of Birdsong's son-in-laws. Each mill was vital to the development of early Central Oregon's timber industry. The Demaris/Birdsong sawmill poured into the county's economy, fueling settlement and growth. It was the first large-scale production mill in the area. In 1908, John would eventually trade the Mill Creek property to Arthur J. Decker and moved his family to Mackay Creek, where he and his sons built a new sawmill. It was at Mackay Creek where John spent his final years, passing away in 1917. Even after moving away, the homestead remained central to the Demaris legacy. John was laid to rest in Juniper Haven Cemetery. Enoch and Almeda are buried in the historic Mill Creek Cemetery. Many family members would come to rest here as well. The cemetery, just a short distance from the land where the Demaris and Birdsong families would come together, successfully running a profitable sawmill, raising children, and surviving a hard-earned life. Mill Creek has grown quiet, but the history remains. The Demaris and Birdsong families helped shape this valley, clearing the land, milling the timber, supplying the community, and building the foundations of Crook County. Through it all, Steins Pillar has stood watch, as a monument to the resilience of the native tribes and courage of pioneers. A memory of many who once called this place home.